Recently I did a video about the general etiquette rules around racecraft. This is a follow-up to that video where I go over use a few of my previous races as examples, or how I apply those rules and what my mindset is when I'm on track, what sort of things I'm looking for, and how I navigate a race in order to get to the end with usually a pretty clean race, usually 0x, 1x, and usually some okay results. So just go over some various rules and then show you some examples from races I've done. So to start, I follow the general etiquette rules that I went over in the previous video. If you haven't watched that yet, go give it a watch so you know what I'm talking about. So that's sort of the baseline for how I go about interacting with others on track. But not everyone follows these rules, or follows any rules for that matter. So a big key is to assume the worst of everyone else. I always assume that the cars around me have either been drinking, they may have had a terrible day at work, they might be visually impaired, they might not have driven this car before. Always assume that the cars around you aren't the best driver in the world. Part of that then follows on to the next point, which is to position your car wisely. So when you are battling with someone, on the chance that either netcode happens or something goes wrong with the passing move from either side, you want to make sure that you are in a position where it doesn't impact you as much. Or if you are going to be in that position, then probably yield before there is a chance for something to go wrong. So always putting yourself in a good position is incredibly important. And part of that for me is when I am looking to move forward in a race, is I only fight when I'm strong. So when I know I definitely have an advantage over the car in front, then I'm going to try and set up a pass. If the car behind is showing a lot more speed, they are clearly stronger than me at that moment, so I'm not going to fight that either. If you're very even on pace, or it's last lap or two and that sort of thing, well, of course you can fight, but generally races are far longer than everyone gives them credit for. You have a lot of time, so only when you have the ascendancy compared to the car you are battling, that is when I fight. It's exactly the same as a street fight. You wouldn't get into a fight if you feel you're grossly overmatched. So same on track. Just back out unless you're certain you've got the upper hand. Last point is sort of a general feedback in relation to racecraft. The more practice you do, the more consistent you will be, and the more spare mental capacity you will have to deal with the first 4 points. And you'll have more confidence that you can hit your marks even if the car is right behind you. You'll be confident that if you are strong, you can dive up the inside, you can nail that braking. So the more practice you do, targeted practice obviously, where you're improving skills rather than mindlessly lapping, the more practice you do and get more consistent, that will help your racecraft. Patience is key. So as I said, even 10-15 minute races, they are a lot longer than people think they are. Everyone tries to get everything sorted on the first 2 or 3 laps. You've got the full race distance to work on things, and you'll be amazed how often things happen right towards the end of the race. So more practice equals better, more patience equals better. And as you do more of these things, as you do more races, you'll get more experience that will give you more feedback to work with in terms of what does work, what doesn't work. You may learn a few more drivers' details to keep in your mind as to who races like what and who to steer clear of and who you can race hard. So the more experience you have, the better you will get at this as well. Not necessarily saying go out and do 10 races every day, but just over the fullness of time, in 6 months' time, you should have better racecraft than what you do now. That even goes for old campaigners like myself. The more I do, the more experience I'm getting, the more comfortable with the pressure I get. So, yeah, if you're not quite happy with your racecraft right now, just keep chipping away, just like any other skill. The more of it you do, the better you'll get. Now I'll take you through a few races with my thoughts on what I was thinking, what I was trying to achieve, what my plans were, and how it all worked out. We're coming up to the start here in a sprint car race. I'm starting P2. So at the moment, what I'm thinking is patience. P2 is a terrible spot to start dirt oval races from. It's very, very likely that P3 will get a run on me and will likely get into turn 1 first. So I'm not in a rush to get into turn 1, try and fight with the leader. I'm not even trying to get in there in second place. I'm expecting P3 to probably get a better start. So I'm not going to be looking to run low into turn 1. I'm thinking I'll push a bit higher into turn 1 and 2, settle into third, and I've got 30 laps. It's plenty of time. Let's not be in a hurry. Let's just see how it plays out. As expected, got a pretty poor start. Given plenty of room. There we are. So we're in P3. P4 is some distance back. So now it's a case of seeing what lines they're going to run, what line seems to be quicker, and just pacing myself, not getting too aggressive in the early stages. Keeping an eye in the mirror and seeing, oh, okay, this guy's pushing in quite hard. See, they're running similar lines to what I want to run. Of course, the rule on dirt oval is that if you can't pass by running the same line, you're going to have to run a different line to people. I noticed in the last corner that the number 8 was very, very close to me, so I need to factor that in. Already you can see that the top 2 are being quite aggressive with each other. I don't want to get too close, because that's what can happen. And then, without knowing necessarily where they were, I ran another lane or 2 higher, because I want to avoid the potential for anything to come back across track. At this point, I'm expecting a caution to come out, but a caution doesn't come out, so just as well I kept racing until you see that caution flag. Now it's a case of, now that I'm out in front, I can hit the line I want to run, and I just looking ahead. I'll keep an eye on the mirror, but I can see that I've got some gap now, so it's a case of just being consistent, hit your marks, and this race resulted in a victory. This was a PCC race I did a couple of seasons ago. Once again, we've got the joys of starting P2, and this is at Oran Park, so really dangerous turn 1. P3, you can see he's very close to P1 here. Again, I'm expecting to probably lose some initiative at the start. It's a case of not being upset about that, and just taking that on the chin, trying my best to get through turn 1 safely. Yep, terrible jump. P3's alongside, the next row is coming up fast. So at this point here, I'm thinking, well, I'll give the position to the guy who's now in P2. My aim is to just hang it around the outside and try and hold off the car that's in P4 here. So even though it looks like I've braked later to try and be alongside him, it's more about trying to protect from this car. And again, holding this line to stay in front of that car. Once we get into here, we single file out, and then we're good to go. Then you're settling into the race. I need to see what pace I have, what pace the cars in front have, how quick they are behind. So we skip forward a wee bit. The leader has driven away from us. I've been pestering this guy all race. Oran Park's very hard track to pass on. But again, I'm being patient. We're only on lap 4. There's no need to be crazy. But up here, the leader has a poor interaction with a lap car. And now we're P2. That's where patience can pay off. So the car behind me is very, very close. So for the next period, I have to be trying to attack this car while defending. I'm having a look. I'm also not wanting to open the door to this car behind me. So frequently, the previous leader who had spun has now caught right back up to us. So now it's a real dogfight coming up. So now I'm getting a little bit more aggressive, showing him a few more different looks, but that's put him alongside me. So my thoughts there were, if I tried around the outside in that corner, it gives me the inside for this corner should he be attacking me. And then he's got nowhere to go up here. He's not going to be able to hang it around the outside of that turn, just the way that that turn works. So that was a safe attack. But again, you have to be comfortable dealing with the pressure when it's like this. So we're still in a three-way fight, very, very close. I've been working on trying to get a run on him, or staying as close as I could through this section. If I was out of the last turn, I might be able to get a run. So I've been getting closer and closer coming out of here, and this time I finally got the run. And of course, the only option is to go to the inside here. He didn't cover it off completely. Now, being conscious, this is a very dangerous corner, so giving him as much room as possible, but he overcooks it, sends it out into the weeds. And that's that pressure. And what I did there by being on the inside, once I'd finally grasped the initiative there, is I stayed there. And that way, if something happens there, it's going to happen to him. I am in a safe spot. And I was also protecting myself from the car behind. So that's where you need to be positioning yourself wisely when fighting. And I was also fighting because I was strong. So later in the race, 7 car is still right on me. And then we come up to a massive amount of traffic. This is a case where positioning becomes very, very important. I had to send it there in order to maintain the initiative. These guys are battling for the win in the MX-5s. I felt like the inside was the play there. And then as I desperately want to stay inside here, protecting my inside, trying to put a lap car between us, but not quite successful there. So it's a real cat and mouse while trying to maintain your accuracy of hitting your marks. Good thing is the Mazdas were nearly as quick as us through all of this section. Trying to not get held up too much there, so as the 7 couldn't get a run. Anyway, this race was incredibly hard fought, and we just managed to hold on for the victory. The last example I have is from an oval race I did in the SRX car. So the SRX is a car that's incredibly punishing on tyres. I had a rough idea of the pace I could maintain to do the 40 lap run that would result in a good, or my maximum pace for a 40 lap run, because that's what we're doing. It doesn't matter about 1 lap pace, 5, 10 lap pace, it's 40 laps. So I was able to get on the pole, which was great. I had no idea how fast the other cars would or wouldn't be over a race run, but I knew what my race run looked like. So I just committed to that pace, and if people wanted to go past me, that's fine. So we've held the lead for lap 1, but now it looks like the cars behind us are coming up with a good run. So I'm not going to fight that. I'm just running the pace that I want to run. I lift a little bit early just to make sure that Garrett's definitely passed. And then Colton behind me is coming with a run, so okay sir, I'll just run my line, my pace. He's up high, getting the good run off the corner. Then I lift very early, so say okay sir, I'm trying to save tyres, you guys have more pace, you're strong right now, so you go for it. So I don't get in their way and I don't fight. Then relevant to the story, a few laps on, Garrett coming off of turn 2 here, big hit in the wall. So just put that one in the knowledge bank, say okay, maybe he's got car damage, maybe he doesn't. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Then these two start fighting for a bit. It was apparent over the next couple of laps that I don't think Garrett had suffered damage that was race ending or speed impacting that severely. So I was like, okay, I sit here, I run my pace and see what these guys are up to. Then we're 12 laps in now. And even though I'm still running my 40 lap pace, I've now caught onto the back of them and just gone past Garrett. I was slightly surprised by this because I thought that, well, I could accept Garrett's because I thought, okay, he's hit the wall, maybe it has done something. I thought Colton may have driven away. So I just sort of stayed there again. I'm going well and things are looking good because I'm still with them at this stage. But I'm not strong yet. So when we come back another 5 or so laps, he's wanting to run the high line and I'm noticing I'm making really good progress on this bottom line that I want to run. So I'm sensing now that I perhaps do need to commit to the pass, but the pass isn't going to happen in one corner. It's a case of being patient, right? We've established side by side. I need to hold my line. I need to stay patient. I need to hope the fact that at this point I feel like my car's stronger. I can't quite get the pass done. That's okay, there's still 20 laps to go. This is probably really frustrating some road guys thinking passes should be done in one corner. You see here I finally get ahead, but because of the line he takes, he gets a much better run. This is a case of, while I've said position your car wisely, it's like I also know Colton. I know he's good, he's safe. So I don't pinch him, but I don't give him 2 lanes to use. I give him 1 and a bit. So I've given some room for netcode and things, and because the state his tyres in, he can't hold that low line as fast as I could. So now I've managed to get the lead. I can continue running my pace and my lines, and I managed to cruise away to a victory there, which early in the race I was thinking probably wasn't going to happen. That's where the patience can pay off. Now to finish off, assume the worst of the cars around you and give them more space. Put yourself in good positions where if something does go wrong, it's not you that's impacted where possible. And only get yourself in the middle of fighting for position when you have the strength to overcome the other car. Practice, be patient, and chalk each incident or race up as learning experience. File it away, learn, keep improving. If there's anything further you want to know or ask, let me know in the comments down below. Hopefully this was helpful to some of you. Hopefully I covered off some things and gave you an insight into what I'm thinking, why, etc. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.